Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. And in this one we have some very interesting stuff here. We have our first look at the Avatar The Last Airbender Jazwares toy line that we've been kind of knowing is incoming for a while. It got mentioned as part of the anniversary press release. And yeah, Toy Fair New York is happening at the moment. Day one was basically yesterday and it will continue on for the next 3 days. But yeah, we've started to get some early looks at the Avatar line. There's not a lot of super maybe like clear information out there. We have a lot of pictures, but there's not a lot of like explanation officially of what we're necessarily doing completely. There's a little bit, I have a bit of an interview snippet that I can talk about in a second, but overall, let's kind of go through a lot of this stuff here. So just as a quick early look, here is a selection of 3 figures in this line. You can see the image unfortunately is cut off, but it's some sort of a, clearly it says classic line. That's what they're calling it. Obviously this is the inch thing, so it's like something 0.5 inch classic. Now, is it 4.5? Is it 6.5? I don't actually know. The figures look relatively big, but like 6.5 inch is suddenly getting quite tall, but like, so I'm not really sure. Maybe it's a 6.5 inch line, but because most of our characters are younger, they don't look that big, but like if they do an Ozai perhaps in this line, he's going to be the full like 6.5 inches. Something like that. But this looks to be our sort of collectors orientated line, kind of highlighting that, okay, that's a good thing. Jazwares are aiming at least some of their stuff at collectors. They're trying to do more kind of high-end figures and not just, figures for the kids. But as we'll see, there is stuff for the kids because there's another line of figures that has kind of action gimmicks that we'll get into in a second. Before we get into a lot of the other pictures, I do want to mention the interview here. So this is from toybook.com, and there is an interview here with one of the SVP licensing consumer products experiences at Paramount. And there's a specific question asked about Avatar here. Avatar is celebrating 20 years. How will Paramount and its partners highlight this anniversary at Toy Fair and throughout the year? The answer is, not only are we gearing up for the new Paramount Pictures film to debut in early 2026, so this is the Aang movie, Aang The Last Airbender, untitled Avatar Aang movie, whatever way you want to call it. They're still highlighting it's early 2026, which is good to hear in the idea that, the toy line has to be timed well to like maximize itself with this. But this year is a celebration of how the original series has shown its staying power, the 20-year anniversary, which is another point that I really want to stress here, that the news that they announced on the 20th and I guess the 21st about the new series, and then they had the whole press release. Sure, we were maybe expecting them to really go in on the day of the anniversary, but instead what they're actually doing is they're basically using the rest of this year, the 20th anniversary year, the build-up year to Avatar Studios, to really celebrate ATLA, to set the stage ahead of like Avatar Studios launch year with the new stuff. So this toy line has that benefit of being able to be like, hey, 20th anniversary toy line, basically. That's why we're leading off so ATLA heavy, that sort of thing. Ability to find new fans every year, sustain business at retail this summer. So there you have a release window, I guess. So we're talking, May's probably a little bit too early. So like June, July, August-ish. We'll have to wait and see exactly. We'll be launching the new toy line for the core series with Jazwares, which they will be previewing at Toy Fair, which is what we're talking about here. And then later this year, we'll expand the line in support of our upcoming theatrical release, the Aang movie. And I think the assumption probably is in there as well, that when the series comes out as well, that will also get some attention. They also note the Avatar Magic set that was just revealed as well, and Pop Deluxe figures, which are already out. That's not super exciting. They do continue on, and they mention it here. So Jazwares, the Avatar product line, is expanding far beyond action figures. The launch plan includes an exciting mix of plush toys, role-play sets, and costumes, all designed to capture the immersive world of Avatar in new and fun ways. The Avatar fanbase continues to grow, fueled by the Netflix show, the upcoming film, and the newly greenlit animated series. So they do mention that in the middle of all of this. Jazwares is positioned perfectly to create all new toys for both long-time Avatar fans and newcomers to the franchise through these new offerings. These will not only expand on Avatar's presence in the toy market, but also provide fans with multiple ways to interact with the world of the Four Nations, enhancing their experience across various touch points. And that's the main Avatar stuff there. So the main points in all of this are that they're acknowledging the new stuff ahead, even though this line is actually going to be launching in the next couple of months and will launch with, I guess, ATLA focus. No mention of Korra, but as we'll sort of see, I think, with some of the way the packaging is done, I definitely think Korra's on the table for this. In that, when they say that we'll expand the line with the theatrical release, does that mean like that there's just going to be another line for the movie? Or is the movie stuff just being done in these lines that they're kind of debuting today? Because I do think the packaging can just change a little bit, and we get into it here. So again, we got this look at the collector's focus line, and you can sort of see up in the corner here, it says Avatar Legends, which is really cool because that basically means like Avatar Universe. It's not overly focusing on just Avatar The Last Airbender. It being Avatar Legends up in the corner for everything is kind of highlighting that they're going to, I guess, be multi-era eventually. That, yeah, they can have movie figures in this line. They can have, like, Aang movie figures in this line. They can have the new upcoming Avatar Pavi series, Seven Havens. It can be in this line as well. Korra stuff can be in this line. Because you can see the way they do the packaging here. They have kind of like, you know, a water, kind of a nation kind of symbol here. The name of the character, what book the design is from, and then the logo for the series. You can just switch that to the Korra logo, and then, you know, say Korra book 4 or something like that, Avatar Legends, and maybe just slightly change some of the colors surrounding the packaging, and it works. I think Avatar Legends is a sign that, okay, it won't just be laser focused on ATLA, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Korra might have to wait a little bit just because they're really pushing the ATLA anniversary and the new content, but we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, let's get into some of the new stuff from Gotham Geek Girl. There's this picture as well, kind of highlighting this a little bit more. While we're here, just talking about these 3 figures in this line, let's actually do a little bit of a deep dive on them, because this might be like the best picture that we kind of have here. So you can see here, they're launching this line with Book 3 Aang, Book 3 Katara, and Book 3 Zuko. Very happy to see that. I'm super happy that it isn't just Book 1 everything across the board, especially like I think the collector's line leading with the end of series designs, and then they can always go back and do Book 1 Zuko, you know, the Book 1 designs if they want to, Book 2 designs, which fans are going to want eventually, but we also want character variety as well. So hopefully they have all the waves planned out in such a way where they get through the characters kind of quickly enough, and we get some of the characters who have never got like proper action figures like Mei and Ty Lee, who are going to be really in demand. But they look good. You can see they're quite articulated. Like look at Aang's shoulder there. You can see that looks like it's pretty much everything you want out of it. There's a bicep cut here for the swivel, double jointed elbow, and then you've got the swivel and the joint for the hand. And it definitely, based on the packaging, it looks like multiple hands are going to be a thing in the packaging. Multiple heads, I think, is going to be a thing for different facial expressions. And it seems like they come with at least 1 or 2 accessories. So Katara comes with the kind of water kind of claws, tendrils. Aang comes with the staff. If we go back to this one, okay, he has some sort of a fire effect. You can see in Katara's packaging there is another head and stuff like that. And I think we have images elsewhere of other stuff. But the big thing with this line, as you can see, is cloth goods. Finally, for the first time, I suppose technically there was that Migo Aang that was technically cloth goods, but we don't talk about that figure. In a proper toy line, this is the first time Avatar is having kind of fabric clothing on the characters. So I definitely think it helps with some of these characters to avoid the problem that I think we've had on certain characters. Like they in previous toy lines, they've done a lot of Book 1 Kataras. And the way her outfit works, of course, is, sure, you have the cut on the sides of her kind of outfit, but just doing it in sort of flexible plastic still means the articulation is always having to work against this constantly resetting and being thick enough to be durable. And exactly the same on like the Diamond Select figure here. This is a Best Action Katara. So this immediately solves that problem, because you can see even on her book 3 design, she has this kind of front bit, but because it's cloth, it actually allows the articulation to function, and not just that, oh, all these figures have like decent joints for the most part. Maybe not the Diamond Select stuff, but you know, we've had highly articulated figures before, but has it been usable articulation? Not necessarily. This looks a bit more usable, and especially like for characters, like their younger characters, their arms aren't like super thick. This looks like solid jointing. Unlike Best Action Diamond Select, where it feels like if you move their limbs, you're breaking those joints. These look very usable, and I think that is definitely a good sign. So you can clearly see that these are, I would say, early, because like some of the stuff, like they don't even have like, say, Aang's tattoos on his arms. Now they show it in different shots that they do have some of the detail, they don't have some of the detail elsewhere. So I don't know how finalized it is. The Katara, I think, broadly speaking, looks very good. I'm super happy they're doing her book 3 design for the first time as a proper action figure. We've seen it in statues before, but that's super, super nice to see. Zuko, we have seen his book 3 design before, and again, his figure is going to be helped by the cloth goods as well, because his articulation has been somewhat limited in some of his figures because of the plastic that they've been using, and this is really going to help him. Unfortunately, I think Aang is the weakest of the bunch so far, because his design is just inherently inaccurate. Straight away, you'll note they're doing his book 3 outfit, but it's wrong on a bunch of regards. Okay, they're doing book 3, not comic design, so the pants straight away are wrong. Aang's book 3 design is meant to look like this. So you can see here, the pants are not meant to be yellow, they're meant to be the kind of Fire Nation ones that he kind of has to put on, because he doesn't have much Air Nomad clothing, of course. The boots are broadly speaking accurate, though they don't have the sort of reddy kind of color on it. But, you know, that's fine. Also, the cloth goods don't seem to have the bit of yellow over the shoulder. You can get a better look at that here. This is when he debuts this book 3 design here in the show. So you can see there is meant to be a bit of yellow fabric that comes out over the same shoulder. And then again, he still has the darker pants. Versus the figure here, which still has the yellow pants. But clearly, based on the boots, that's what they're going for. You might be wondering, oh, are they doing the comic design? Well, it fits overall, except the boots are wrong. The boots should be more matching with the general Air Nomad color scheme. But very clearly, they have the kind of more darker kind of boots. It's a bit of a weird one where I'm like, how did they get this kind of so wrong and inaccurate? Like the main character design, you've done something good by showing that you can do, I guess, multiple character designs, but then you don't do it accurately is a weird thing to do, in my opinion. So overall, I think I'm pretty pleased. I hope some of this stuff just is quite early and it's not like absolutely locked in, finalized, but the size, the kind of ambition to be a collector's line, it looks good so far, and I'm interested, definitely. Let's then go into some of these pictures here, which show off a little bit more. So you can see here, this is this is what website is this? Toy News International. They have a bunch of pictures. It's not 121 Avatar pictures. There's about like maybe 10, 12 that I've picked out, but they start off with this Aang picture here. The other thing is also with this, the one on display, the exposed shoulder is the wrong side. As you can see here, it should be this shoulder that's exposed, not the other one, and they have it kind of done wrong. I'm assuming it's just the show setup that they have that kind of done wrong. Maybe that's why it kind of looks a bit weird with the way the seam is or something like that. But I really hope if it just is designed that way that they do fix that, because there's like 2 or 3 different errors with the Aang that shouldn't be happening with the main character. So yeah, there's the main image. I think outside of the really obvious errors, I think it's a really good silhouette for Aang. The figure does look solid. Like, look at him holding the staff. It looks good. I think the face sculpt looks really good. Definitely the best action figure kind of Aang face sculpt we've seen. So that's positive. Then you'll note Suddenly the next picture introduces these two figures. Like, what are these? This is a different line of figures. This is not in the same line as the other ones, which is the more collectors orientated line. This is it might be called like the core line or something like that. They don't specify what the size class or anything like this is, but this is obviously some sort of a gimmicky figure line. And it does seem like they're going to have a certain amount of articulation. It doesn't look like the legs have too much going on, like especially the Aang. I'm a bit wondering like how much is there in the legs. But these ones have special gimmicks. So Zuko has some sort of a roundhouse kick gimmick, I think, or something like that. A few effects going on. Seems like there's at least articulation in the head and the arms. Aang has a spinning glider effect going on. And we'll see that as we go through the pictures. So there's a slightly better look at the Aang. It's book 1 Aang and book 1 Zuko. So that's interesting. Here's a look at the collector's Aang in packaging. And again, you'll note that there's a few things that are kind of different with this one. Where straight away, the cloth goods is different, completely different than before. The shade of the color is completely different. It looks like the fabric itself is completely different. The pants are exactly the same. Still no yellow on the shoulder. But I'm not sure which I prefer overall. Like if they fix the original one, or should they go down this road? I'm just a little worried about the Aang based on what I've seen here. That something needs to improve. But you can see what you get in the package. The neutral expression, which we've seen, a kind of grinning expression. You get the staff and a couple of hands. Plus there is an air effect here as well. So that's kind of nice to see. Then we go over and we see the one that again is on display, highlighting the wrong shoulder, whereas they actually have the shoulder right in this one, with regards to where his outfit is, which is a little unfortunate. You get another look at, I guess, more of the effect parts here for Zuko and the Katara packaging here. So you can see the color scheme changes. So an air character here has a bit of more yellowy and orange going on. Katara has the blue, which is nice. Here's another look more from above. So you can see like Zuko's hair, the sculpt there looks kind of nice. So that's all good. Yeah, here's the packaging for the smaller scale figure. So you can see it's more of a classic action figure packaging with the kind of clamshell. But again, it's still Avatar Legends, so the room is still there even in this line to, I guess, switch up the rest of the packaging to be like Korra or the movie or Seven Havens or something like that. You can see here, roundhouse kicking action. And there is a few effects, but otherwise it's just still a nicely sculpted figure. It just happens to have a gimmick. And you can see they have more of the insert image of like ATLA. I guess this one is meant to more appeal to kids with the gimmick and stuff like that, but it still looks decent. So I think they've made the right choice there overall with that. So that's good to see. There's the same Zuko again. Here's the Aang. A little bit far away, but you can see it says, I think it's staff spinning action. And he does come with some air effect as well. I think they're the only two in that line they've shown off, at least so far from what I've seen. That's how you kind of set it up with the wind on kind of either end. So when it spins, it looks like it's a kind of pinwheel. That could be kind of cool. I wonder, like, what exact way that's done. Is it just a bit of a kind of spring-loaded thing where, like, with Zuko, if you like position him correctly, like you can do some sort of a thing where like you like hold his leg back and then it like kicks forward. Aang, I'm guessing there's some sort of a spring coil thing where you can like, you know, wind his kind of hand up and it maybe spins or something. We have to wait and see. Obviously, you know, it's a gimmick figure. It is what it is. Bit of a closer up look at Zuko. So you can see the kind of integration of the kind of cloth goods in with the figure itself. And you can sort of see like the articulation is still there even on Zuko. You know, is it going to maybe be the absolute most articulated figure? No, but again, for what I'm guessing is going to be that kind of classic, you know, price point of that kind of collector orientated figure. I think it looks really good for what it is. Here's Katara, which basically we've seen that before. And then, yeah, they're just the images that I was showing off there. The only other thing is if we go back here, this account does have one other picture which shows a little bit more of the actual Avatar section of the booth, highlighting some of the other stuff that they have on display. So you can see here, it says here, I think this is meant to say like core, and then you can see they have the gimmicky figures. Why no one took a picture more closely of the clearly different Aang. So there is, I guess, going to be a spirit variant of Aang here. It looks like it's the exact same figure, just molded in the kind of transparent blue plastic, which is nice to see as a variant. I wonder, does that mean it's exclusive or not? Who knows? Maybe makes you a little bit worried that they're only like 3 figures in and they're already going for remolds, but it is what it is. But the bigger thing here is probably a look at the rest of the line, in the sense of like, here's some of the cosplay stuff that they were talking about, the cosplay roleplay stuff. So clearly an Aang mask that's actually quite accurate looking, which is interesting. The Aang cosplay outfit, which looks pretty decent. Is the quality like super high? I'm not sure, but it looks pretty accurate, which is good. Not sure how I feel about the big kind of chunky staff thing that doesn't look super big. We'll see if that is anything. Like, is it just like a block of plastic or something like that? Or is it kind of more of a lights and sounds kind of actual roleplay item? I'm not really sure. We'll have to wait and see on that. But then 8-inch classic plush. This is kind of cool. There's some kind of chibified stuff here. So this wave 1, I guess, looks like book 1 Aang. You've got Momo, you've got an otter penguin, and Appa is, I think that's Appa there in the background that you can't quite see. So they said they were going to be doing plushes as well. And then keep in mind, there's other stuff. Like, there's meant to be like play sets from like the original Jazwares announcement. There is going to be like play sets. They said dolls was going to be a thing. So they haven't been shown off here. And kind of other stuff along those lines. Like, they said vehicles as well. So some of the lines, I'm guessing, will have the animal kind of characters in them as well. We'll have to just wait and see how exactly that happens. But it is a full-scale line. This is different, I think, even than, say, McFarlane and their attempt at a toy line, where, okay, they did 2 lines of figures, but this is 2 lines of figures plus extras. Lots of extras, that they're really going in on it, highlighting it with, you know this from Netflix, you know this from the original shows, you know this from the fact that there's new stuff coming out. This is a real sign that they're committing to doing something big here. Major deal here of like Jazwares getting the Avatar license and doing kind of a bit of everything with it. And it's looking kind of good so far, I think. My big thing definitely is that I want to see the Aang improve before release. Because, come on, how do you get the collector version of the main character wrong on like something as basic as the color of his outfit? Like, I get it, it's maybe slightly confusing if they're basing this off maybe certain pieces of stock art that they have behind the scenes, but it's like, guys, you're doing book 3, watch the episode. This is the design you're doing, not whatever this one is kind of meant to be. And just it's the detail that's maybe not here. I understand maybe some of the setup aspect of this, like this being over the wrong shoulder, is perhaps like, okay, you can't assume the person at the booth at Toy Fair is going to be thinking about screen accuracy, but that person didn't paint this yellow, I assume. So hopefully that gets acknowledged and fixed before release. And I just, in general, I'm going to wrap this up with, I'm pretty positive on this. I think this looks like it absolutely could be the best Avatar toy line that we've seen. It looks like they're making an effort to launch this at the right time, building up to the movie stuff, and then the movie stuff, I guess, could be incorporated into these lines in certain ways, where, let's get a better look at some packaging stuff, where you can see the kind of vision of, okay, Avatar Legends, this changes, and suddenly it's Aang, and then it says, like, Aang the Last Airbender movie. We've got the movie logo here, and it's an adult Aang. You can see the vision for maybe what they're going to do on this side of things. Maybe with maybe the other merch, where do we have it here? Like this they might do something different here, but I think with the collector's line that they have, that feels like that's Marvel Legends packaging. That's Star Wars Black Series packaging. You can just adjust that based on what iteration of the franchise you're doing. And I think that's a positive if that's indeed the strategy, because we want a future where we can maybe have like a few waves down the road, like a Rangi figure potentially shows up here as a novel reference character. We want the ability for Korra figures to kind of start appearing in this line gradually, that sort of thing. So, gonna wrap it up there. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Avatar Jazwares Toyline first look. Mostly the figures, but we've seen a little bit of stuff like the plushes and some of the kind of cosplay items. What are your thoughts on this first look? I'll have more stuff coming, I guess, if anything else comes out over the course of the convention. I'm assuming there will at least be clarification on stuff like sizes of classes and stuff like that. We'll get a better look at maybe what the title card is for a lot of the other stuff, and if they have anything else to say. But otherwise, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.